Hey there, it's Meera here again. This time in this tutorial we'll be talking about HTML attributes. So let's open up our CodePen file. Start with the basic structure of HTML. Okay. As you know, commenting in HTML, that is making a note for yourself or for someone else to read in a way that it doesn't show on your page. This is how you do. I mean, this is just an extra knowledge that you're getting. Here I'm writing this note so that you can remember it while you're trying to remember which syntax is for what. You'll see how I do. So the opening tag, then the exclamation and 3 hyphen, followed by whatever you want to write here, again followed by 3 hyphen and close the tag. So this is called a comment in HTML, which as you can see just shows up here in your editor but doesn't show on your page. So here, why the reason I put it here so that you'll remember the points. Here, the first attribute I'm talking about is the lang attribute. But before we go into attribute, a small definition of attribute. Actually, an attribute is something which gives further detail or information about an element which you studied about in the last chapter. In the last chapter or the tutorial, you learned all about HTML elements. So anything which gives more information about an element and which is positioned in the opening tag of the element is called an attribute, and an attribute is usually showed within open and close quotations, quotes, as you can see here. So here the first thing I'm going to talk about is the language attribute. In the HTML code, the language is shown like this. That's short, L-A-N-G. So the description for attribute is shown exactly like this, equal to, so the HTML element, then after that the lang, which is the language attribute, equal to sign within the quotes en. So in this case, en stands for English. So here we are talking about language as English. Next, the basic structure also has a body, right? Okay, this is the opening tag of the body, close tag. Okay. Now, within the body, I'm going to show you the other attributes. But first, a comment again. The style attribute. Okay. Now, I am just going to write an element, let's say an H1 element, right? So let me give the H1 element a style. So I write the style attribute. Let's give it a color. That is, a font color is specified as color in the syntax, right? Close the tag, give it a type, give it the H1 heading. Close the H1 tag. So it's already showing here the HTML attributes in aquamarine color. Why? Because we've given this H1 element in the opening tag, which we have given an attribute which is a style attribute by giving it equal to within the open and closed quotes color is aquamarine. This is the way attribute is shown. Okay, next. So this is called the style attribute. You can give it to anything, maybe H1 or P or whichever. Next, I talk of title attribute. Okay. So before giving the title attribute, let me give a paragraph. I need to have some content, right? So I'm giving a P element, which is a paragraph. Okay. Now within the P, let me write some content first. Something like this. So this is a P now. You can see this paragraph. Okay, now I want to give a title attribute to this. You'll see what later. Okay, so I just give it a title, something like, so I call it title attribute. This lesson is very important. Something like an additional note. So what happens is, particularly this title attribute is something which displays additional information in the form of a tooltip when you mouse over the title or whatever you've written. Okay, I will explain what's a tooltip when you go here. See, can you see this? This lesson is very important. It shows here. So this, what is happening, which is not there in the page by itself, but when you mouse over, you can see this. This is called the tooltip effect. So this is provided by the title attribute. Okay. Next. Okay. We talk of another one. ID attribute. Okay. ID is actually in HTML and CSS. ID is provided. Let's say, for example, in the case of H1 or P. So in this case, we are going to provide in P. So the reason you're providing this ID particular here, whatever, it could be interesting, it could be anything, it could be mobile, whatever is connected with the concerned with the particular paragraph. The reason you're providing is later when you're styling the P in your CSS, then you need a kind of identification for this paragraph. So that's the reason you put the ID here. So for example's sake, I am calling this ID as interesting. So let's say I write here as a paragraph content. whatever. I just don't bother about the language. I'm just giving it for the sake of uh, practice. Okay. Save. Okay. Next. Next is the href attribute. Okay. We've already seen the href link, the hyperlink in the previous tutorial, how it is generated. So the href was you've seen the link that was provided. Yes, so in order for the link to appear, you need the href attribute. And what was the link element? It was the a. The a was the link, and href is the attribute. So you'll see how it goes. So let's say in this case, I take this, I copy this, I grab this URL from Pixabay. Close the tab. Call it a Pixabay search link or whatever. Close the link. This is a link tag, remember. So this is the link tag, open and close tag. For that, for the link tag or the you need the href attribute. So that is the href attribute. So if you press here, it will take you to the link. That's happening because of the href attribute. Next, this is called the source attitude, in short SRC. This is also required when you're, let's say, attaching an image, etc. You've already learned about the image element and the image tag. So in the opening image tag, you need to put in the source or the SRC attribute in order to put the URL. So within this space, you need to put in the URL for the image. So let's go back here. Let's say I select this image. I grab this image, copy the image address, just put it in there. I put in the image link over there. There you go, you have the image here. So this is the source attribute, SRC, shown by SRC. Close the tag. As you know, image tag is self-closing. You don't need another one to close. Okay, then you have your next attribute, which is the width and the height attributes. Why do you need the width and the height attributes? You'll see here, because when you're specifying, when you're showing an image in your file, you need to specify the height and the width dimensions. So that's why you need these two attributes in order to show the complete dimensions. Okay, here you go. Let's say I go to the same syntax. let's say I take the same image, but this time I also mention the dimensions, height, width equals, let's say this is just approximate, you can put in your own height and width, etc. So let's see what happens. The previous one was its original size, but after you put in the height and the width sizes, it becomes like this. So it's just an example. So this is possible because of the height and width attributes. Next, you have the alt attribute. Alternate. So okay, now what happens is, like, let's say sometimes the image is there, or the image is not clear, or let's say you wanted a particular image to appear but the image is not clear, or the image didn't get downloaded on the page. So but still you can see a small little line descriptor underneath the image showing what it is about. That is one scenario. Another scenario is for blind people. This is a responsive way of coding. Even if they cannot see the image, they can hear the description, the whatever is written over there. This is the idea. So let's go here and see. This is the alt text. I call it whatever, the monument, let's say. Whatever is it, I mean, I'm just giving an example here. So whatever will exactly figure out what the picture is about, you can mention it there. If it's a dog picture, you can say it's a dog picture sitting on a couch, etc., etc. Kind of describing what's the picture telling us, or what's the picture about, even if the picture is not clear, or the picture is not there, or you cannot see the picture. That's the idea. All right, so we've closed the body, and then we need to close the HTML. Don't forget that. Save, and you're good to go. So this was all about HTML attributes, and in the description below I'll be giving you the link to the detailed code file, so you can copy the code from there, or you can figure out and you can experiment, play around in the CodePen file, create your own images, etc. And if you have any more doubts and questions or any other suggestions to put in there, you can always comment below. And to those who have subscribed and liked my previous tutorials, I would like to thank you a lot. Thank you. Keep watching. I'll be uploading more such videos in the next week. Thank you. See you again.